Dummer in Still River. And the grammar schools were let out last week, and high schools have been out for about 2 weeks, and the grads are in the height of irrational exuberance. And the little kids are just beginning their bout with irrational exuberance. And in Still River, things are getting ready for the 4th of July. Robert Harris of Harris CPA Accountants was one of those people who did not subscribe to irrational exuberance. I heard a quote from a philosopher, theologian, which seems apropos. He said, the world is in the throes of recovering from a 200-year hangover of rationality. And Robert Harris and his family were the epitome of rationality. Accountants, good decisions, the debit and the credit side of life, the balance sheet. And though his brother Ed Jr., his father Edward Sr. passed away and left the firm to him, Edward Jr. became, in the end, it's a long story with him, became a Presbyterian freelance minister out in Kentucky, started a little church that died out where they sit in rocking chairs, not pews, and they play bluegrass and old-time music in their service. And they have potluck dinner before the service every week. Well, anyway, Robert lived a very staid life, and his brother Ed Jr. ran away with the circus in the town next door many years ago when he was like 11, and was gone for like 2 weeks. And they had everybody searching for him, but he called back and said, I'm not coming back, I'm with the circus. I'm down in Louisiana, and I'll be back. And Robert envied that about his brother, the prodigal son syndrome. He envied that about his brother, but then he was angry at the same time because he went to church every week. He subscribed to the big accountant in the sky. The carrot and stick religion, Presbyterians very staid and loved that. And he felt that life should be that way. Though underneath, there was something very different lurking in the deep recesses of his collective unconscious, like most of us. And his brother Ed Jr., released to that, just let go early and sowed his wild oats, so to speak, while he didn't. And Robert had a house and wife of 20 years. He married her in town. She was a dental hygienist. He made scads of money. He did accounting work for almost all the firms in town, and he had 4 junior accountants under him, bequeathed to him by his deceased father. And he was sitting in his living room in the front where usually nobody sits, because he was watching something. A chord was being struck in him that he couldn't deny. He tried to put these thoughts away. He subscribed to, talks in church about, guarding your thoughts and thinking the right thoughts, and that, the Holy Spirit only subscribes to certain thoughts, and you need to disregard the others. Well, there's a big difference between, getting rid of bad thoughts and handing it over, and pushing them down. He liked religion because he wasn't really sure about God. So if you weren't sure about number one, you went for number two. So, he did that, and God was religion to him, I think, because he wasn't really quite absolutely down in his core sure about his faith. So anyway, across the street was the antithesis of the Harris household. His wife was out, at the club, 3 martini lunches, 3 or 4 or 5 martini dinners with the girls every day at the club. He thought she was playing bridge and playing golf and tennis, and they were really doing quite other different things, which he did found out later on, which solidified the coldness of their marriage. They had separate bedrooms, and she had a walk-in closet and bathroom, which she would spend 2 hours in the morning. Usually she wouldn't get up before 10 and wouldn't get in at night till like 11:30, 12 at the earliest. Anyway, across the street was this Victorian house redone. It was painted lavender with chartreuse shutters and almost day-glow lime green, trim. And Louise lived over there. Louise was something else. Her front lawn was way overgrown. It was her herb garden. And she had 3 or 4 large dogs, hounds, a mastiff, and a poodle. And they were always running around barking. She was always laughing. She came from down south. She played the clawhammer banjo and the slide dobro guitar, and she sang. And she hummed and sang a lot. And you could hear her right across the street. And it struck a chord with Robert. He would sit in the living room, not on the porch, because nobody sat on the porch, except over at Louise's, where on weekends they would sit on the porch and play bluegrass music and guffaw and laugh. And sometimes, you would see in the evening lights on upstairs with people cavorting around laughing. And they looked like apparently they didn't have any clothes on. Anyway, so one day Louise comes over with a southern pecan rum or pie and says, "We've been neighbors for 7 years. You have never come on over, and I was wondering maybe you didn't want to see us, so I have to find out. I brought you this pie." And she walked in the house with a bottle of Chardonnay and this pie, and she sat down. And he was astounded. She was unlike anything he've ever seen before. And she opened the wine, and she drank 2 glasses. He took a few sips. And she cut him a nice big piece of pie, which he tasted 2 bites, and it tasted like something so fantastic from another world. And she was talking about going down south this summer in her RV and down to Asheville and down to Columbia, South Carolina, go to bluegrass festivals, and she has friends down there and to visit and vacation. Would he like to go? And this was an unconscionable, unthinkable question to him. But something went off inside him, like a big bell, like a big gong, and the thought of his brother and the prodigal son came back, and he didn't know why. He couldn't shake these thoughts for anything. He prayed, he begged, and they wouldn't go away. And he decided a day or 2 later that he got up in the morning in a trance. He packed whatever he could in his suitcase, left a note on the kitchen table saying, "I am going on a trip with the neighbor. I won't be back for a month. And by the way, I want a divorce. Which made his wife very happy because they had a prenup agreement of half Stephen. So she would get half of a fortune. What she wanted anyway, she was talking to the girls about getting rid of him, but yet somehow getting rid of him and getting money. And here was the opportunity right on the kitchen table. Anyway, he goes out next morning. She's banging around singing, loading the RV. He comes walking up and she goes, "Well, coming, I see you deciding," like, as matter of fact, as if she knew all along what was really going on down there inside of him, even when he didn't. Now it was here. And they went off, down the road in the big RV. And that's the beginning of the Irrational Exuberance in Still River this summer.